Let's start analyzing customer churn with SAP GUI. Our specific industry is going to be the wireless services and cable, and customers in those industries are really subject to much higher attrition rates than in most other industries. For instance, in the US it's 30% annually, in Europe 50%, and in Asia even more. And this is a significant problem for those companies. The articles have put forth that a cost of acquiring new customers is as significant as $500 per customer. So if customers keep on popping from one company to another and to the third, the telecom companies don't get a chance to recoup its customer acquisition expenses before the customer churns again. And also there have been some bold initiatives where articles have described reduction of customer turnover by as much as a third, and modifying 62% of churn behavior by just using data mining and modeling to get to know who would be most likely about to churn. Thus this data mining tool is really a competitive weapon for those companies. And what we want to do is we want to predict whether a particular customer will churn and when it will happen, and also why a particular customer will churn. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is log into University of Arkansas datasets. So creating a connection, we already looked at two occasions. First is in ABC analysis, and the second one was in clustering. We already have this University of Arkansas connection, so I'm just going to double click on it. The next thing is to enter the username and the password, and then to log in. So once again, there are two steps here. First is enhance analytics, and I'm going to do the data mining models, and I'm going to right click on it. To get this open, I'm going to click on this right arrow to turn it into a down arrow, and I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to do execute data mining models. Now with those, we'll have to go to classification, and it has decision trees in there. So I'm going to right click on it and do create model, and name my model as MKTG663_UBI_churn, or rather, let's name it as churn model 1. Okay, and the description, I'm just going to copy the same thing into the description, and it's a manual setup, so it's an OK after that. We're under fields, so feel free to fast forward this video until we've entered all the fields. It's going to be done in a similar manner, but I'm going to start doing them one by one now. So first of all, click on plus, and then enter day_mins, which is daily minutes spoken. As you can see, it recognizes the data automatically from the database. Its length is 8, and it's a continuous variable. We've spoken of continuous variables and all these topics before, so it's an X+. The next one is daily calls made during the daytime, so it's day calls. And it recognizes this as an 4 integer. This one is continuous as well. Let's continue. Phone number. Okay. This is the key field because that's why that's how we distinguish what we're really interested in. call made at night, so it's night calls. It's actually singular, night call. This field is continuous as well. Then have international calls. This is an integer 4 field as well, and it's continuous. International plan. This is discrete. It's without the letter A, just PLN. This one is discrete. Okay, next up, calls made in the evening. This is continuous. Like minutes. Continuous. Account length in months. This is a continuous field. International minutes. You see a bunch of call-related data going into the churn model. Continuous. Number of service calls. Continuous. Evening minutes. So this data is from a time when the distinction between such things was made, It's constantly evolving. It's a continuous field. Next up, we spin plan. It's a discrete one. And lastly, churn, whether it happened. It's under the name churn1. And this one is a discrete field as well. Let us next go to parameters. This is ready, so we can select that it uses sampling. This means, and let the sample percentages be 15 and 35. So what it does, it takes like a subset of data randomly as a percentage, and it does this tree, and then it does another subset, and it compares which one is better. So this is the maximum sample size, 15 and 35, number of trials 2, minimum leaf cases, so how much data should be contained in one final leaf. It's another setting, so we're configuring the decision trees now. Minimum leaf node accuracy, so we should say that it's at least 85%. So it means that, remember, we had every leaf could have like a number of results in there. Like for instance, for those box office movies, we also had other types of movies in there in the first case, but it should be at least 85% accurate. Perform pruning, so the tree doesn't grow like it would otherwise. So we will perform pruning, and let's leave the rest of it as it is. Under the fields, there was one thing we didn't do. We didn't say that churn is the prediction field, so the kind of thing that tries to put these customer numbers like or phone numbers, which are key field. It's using it for every key field that looks whether it churned or did not. Okay, and let's activate this model. And we're done with that. And now we're ready to navigate out of here and to the model the analysis process, which we execute now. In the process designer, we choose general. This will show us all the processes, but when we right click and do create, it's going to create a new one. Okay, so we choose an info provider, and our info provider is going to be called churn. We know that name in advance. So let's click on field selection. Okay, and now the next thing to do here is to choose everything besides the area code from upper plane. And then I'm going to just choose everything in the start and unselect some stuff instead. So daily charge, I'm unselecting this. Evening charge, I'm selecting this. International charges, I'm selecting this. And night charges, I'm selecting this one as well. So now this should be okay. Let us select these decision trees from down here. Okay, now connect them to the info provider and click on their properties. The model that we're using was MKTG663 last name, and there was a churn in there. kind of unconventional because we had like the model type like decision trees before. Now we're using churn as a kind of application type. Okay. And now we need to activate those connections between the two. So I'm going to go to properties of this link between the two. And I'm going to do this to pull all those fields together. So it's, first of all, it's the same info object that I'm connecting with. Okay. It seems that a few things did not connect correctly. So I'm going to click on International Plan and select this field just by hand. And voicemail plan as well. Okay, now it should be okay. Now we can run the model. First activate it, and then... Oh, it's naming that we have to do as well. And let's name this one as churn as well, although it's actually decision trees that we should use as a convention. The process has been activated. Now let's execute it. And it's ready. So the execution was a success. It did 2 trials. Trial 1 was with the accuracy of 89.154. Trial 2 was with the accuracy of 89.079. So the first trial is selected, and that's the result of our churn prediction. So far we've always gone like up in the hierarchy and then down the other hierarchy, but we can go straight to that model from the process we created. So I'm going to right click on this and select properties, take this MKTT663 and so forth model, click on the glasses, and there, I'm right there. The results are here. When we click on results, we can see the tree. So the further interpretation will be up to you, but let me just show a few things in this tree. On this tree, we have daily minutes as the main differentiator, and if daily minutes are greater than 237, and then the next one comes voicemail plan. If there is a voicemail plan, then there are 123 such clients out of 3,333, and 90% of them, 92% of them haven't churned. So that's essentially the way to read through this tree. Now the task that's up to you is to see if you can find some interesting connections there, but let me show a few more tools. So first of all, you can click on this tree view, and this kind of shows you a took me a while, I clicked it all open, shows you kind of a tree view of it. So the same thing goes here, that if the daily minutes are greater than 237 and there is voicemail plan yes, then the churn is false in 92.68% of cases. So this is the way to kind of read through this data. The good thing is that, think of it this way, if you've ever written an if sentence in Microsoft Excel, then every decision tree can be written down as an elaborate if sentence. It's going to be quite difficult to write this down, for instance, but you can do it. And once you do it, you'd be able to kind of enter just anything in your data, and it's going to predict this with the tree automatically. As regards to this option in SAP GUI, you can click on the icon What If Prediction. And for instance, this gives you all the fields, and when I enter into the daily calls 15, night calls 36, voicemail plan 4, then what it does, it kind of tells me, and I'll also click on predict, then it tells me that 88% of cases this client shouldn't churn, and in 12% of cases it should. So it kind of runs everything through the same tree, and it sees which leaf it ends up with most probably. So figure that most of the fields haven't even been filled here. Okay, so I'll leave you with that in this tool, and once again your assignment is also to see if you can interpret something in here.